We're back here to investigate some leaks. Not going so great. Heavy rainstorm today. See if we can take a look. Now, knowing full well the extent of the leaks we had on this roof, we had decided that we were just going to remove the entire piece. As you can see here, we're starting the process of taking everything off and getting it all unscrewed. I did have a camera at the other end doing some other recordings, but unfortunately it disappeared on me.
Now there's nails in there.
Oh yeah. So now we've got all the material off of the roof. Here you see the skin of the roof. Lots of tar on the top side, a lot of spray foam, butyl tape, all kinds of fresh things. So the biggest thing that you can notice, I'll wait till another section. Here's the antenna that has a lot of screws and a lot of places to leak. As you can see over here on this piece, all of the galvanized was actually very good. There wasn't no rusts or cuts or breaks or anything. It was just the seams and stuff that needed to be redone. But unfortunately, other owners had decided just to tar it and tar it really thick. And it was stuff that we just could not remove and we couldn't save the galvanized. Wish we could have used it, but it was just not an option and we had to go with something different. AC was a wreck too, so I'm not too worried about that. This is part of the framing that did the old roof. And as you can see, it's got a lot of weird cuts and different things attached to it and such. It just wasn't useful anymore. Right here, you can see this is the very edge that sat on top of the studded wall. So you only had half the amount of wood that you could have had. There's the old vent, again with a lot of tar on it. Over here, I have the old cover for the bathroom vent. It's also galvanized. I think I'm going to reuse it. What do you guys think? I'm going to clean up all that tar, get it all cleaned up, and I think we could reuse that part. So doing a couple quick little recordings because I'm trying to get this figured out. And, well, what can I say? I guess professionals hold it like this, eh? I don't know why I'm on black and white. Have to look into that. What's that? Night mode? New camera. Still learning. Anyways, we're doing the roof soon on the trailer, and I theoretically have an idea what I'm doing, but still makes me nervous. Oh, so here's what I've done. Point of reference. Door is supposed to be here. My kitchen is here. My table is here. My bathroom is here, which leaves that. Let's, you gotta include the stud to subtract an inch. 2x4, I know, inch and a thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. I would hate to be off by like an inch or two. And this is my prefab, because I haven't taken the roof off yet. But I'd hate for it to not work. We'll see. I would like to add that I did do all the proper measurements and worked out all the different angles and everything. It's just I like to have a visual as to how things are supposed to work out also, so I can just get a bit of an idea on it. Now, as I had previously mentioned, unfortunately, one of the cameras that I was working with was stolen. So a lot of the content and a lot of the work that I did that was recorded on there is just now gone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw up a bit of an explanation on how I did the joists for the roof and why I did it in such a manner that I did it. That way, if anybody else wants to kind of do the same thing, this is probably the most important piece to kind of explain it out. So what I have here is I have my two studded walls, which are typically at the same height. On the taller side of the RV now, I added 12 inches of a new portion of the wall and had that right on top of the studded wall. And that's what made for my pitch. The pitch was called a 112 pitch for roofers. That makes sense. If you want to learn more about how to figure out the pitches and everything, there's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to use a speed square. But right now I'm going to kind of lay out the rough idea of how you typically do a roof. Just going to lay that right there. So typically you have your wood joists for your roof, and they normally have an overhang for soffits and stuff like that, so that your attic area can have some breathability. I don't really have an attic, so I don't really need. I'm going to take a moment and apologize. Well, that was a bit weird. I don't know what to say happened there. The original audio I had, I deleted, but 4 seconds of it kind of stayed right there. So, moving on. Here you see I'm erasing out to the parts that normally would be the overhang, and I cut that at an angle with the speed square at the 112 line, and that gets rid of my overhangs. And now I have straight up and down. It's an angled cut, but it's an angled cut that matches with the studs. And that's that. I'm going to dig in a little bit deeper here and give you a blown up version of the tall portion of the wall, where we used a method that's known as a crow's foot or a crow's claw or such. So there would be my theoretical wall, top off the stud right there. And then we're going to draw up the angled joist for the roof. I'm going to have the bottom part of that joist lower than the stud. The top part of the joist sits up this way. I'll extend it a little bit as you would with a typical roof if you're doing this on a shed or on a house or cottage or bunkie. But then what I do is I actually cut off that extra piece, and that's what makes it flush for me. And as you can see, the top portion of the joist sits nice and comfortably on top of the stud. Right there, nice and flat and nice. I'm going to draw up another studded wall here just to give you a bit of idea why the crow's foot is so important, especially in my opinion. So we'll do up another studded wall there. And if we put the bottom of the joist right to the top of the studded wall, just like that, we'll cut this flush also, because that's the way we're doing it within my RV. Flush there. If you look at that, you get this big gap right here where it's not sitting. Here it's nice and flat, and very important. As I mentioned before, I had lost a lot of the footage of doing the roof, but here we are underneath. The roof is now up. The joists are up. You can see how it all aligns. We have a little bit of wood at the edge there so that we can secure the roof metal in, some studs in the middle. That's the longer part. You see where I raised it. And so now this is going to give a bit of a loft feel to the RV. See here, this is the front area, and you can see it's a lot taller and a lot more spacious, which is very nice. Here I have a bit of a view of the overlapping of the metal roofing. This is the material that I designed with. It's got ridges where you would typically screw in. And I'm going to continue with that. And that's the length of the roof. As you can see, I've got some of the screws. Now that we've got some of the screws in to hold it down, we had a couple of snowstorms, or not snowstorms, rainstorms throughout the weekend. So we had to tape up and wait and do some things. But right here, what I'm doing is I have a string across where I'm going to put in my lower screws, and I'm going to get things all set up. So I'm using two drills. First, I'm going to drill a pilot hole into the steel so that the screw is not knocking about all over the place. Then I will insert the screw into the pilot hole, use my other drill to drive it home. And as you can see here, some of my screws are a little chaotic, but more importantly here is I got the string all the way across, and that's going to help me to align all the screws as I go across, which makes things a little more aesthetically pleasing and a little more uniform. Here what I'm doing is I'm setting up my string again on the taller portion of the roof, and just for a little bit of a demonstration purposes. Again, we had some tuck tape and some plastic and stuff because we did run into some rain here and there and had to pause and wait till things were nice and dry again. So for an example, I have my end screw right here, and I'm just going to pop it up just a little bit there. Okay, not so high. Yeah, perfect. And then what we can do, a little closer for you, is we just wrap the string around, keep it nice and taut, and we can drill it back down. And that's how I kept the string. I have a screw at one end, a screw at the other end. I can run the string, and then it'll be straight all the way across, and I can do all the screws for this top cap, which was a nice little piece. Hopefully I got a little picture for you afterwards. I like the overall design, and it'll keep the rain out. So now we're going to work on the vent for the bathroom. So as you previously saw, it was all dirty and mucky and full of tar, so I got it all cleaned up and everything. Now you don't necessarily have to add paint to galvanized, but I just wanted a nice aesthetic. So originally it was pop riveted in, but I'm going to screw it in, so I'm putting a little pilot holes there. Here's the original top part of the pipe, and as you can see, I've got lap sealant all around it to keep the water out. As it cured, there was a little bit of issue with some cracking and some gapping, and that's going to happen, so always double check, and we're just going to get some more lap sealant in here and get it all cleaned up. When you're doing this kind of lap sealant stuff, you won't always necessarily get it perfect on the first shot, and sometimes it'll dry a little bit incorrectly or not quite the way you want it, and you got to add a little bit more. But that's life. You just keep going at it. So add a little more sealant here and there, and then we're just going to kind of top it up over here. You can see in the background my black tank vent. It sealed up really nice. It never really caused me any issues after the first install of the sealant, but this one was a little more picky. So we'll get it all cleaned up here, folks. It's better to have a lot of sealant than to have a lot of leaks. I'll tell you that. And then we're just going to rub it in, make sure it's in all the cracks and everything, and nice and good and secure. You smooth it out and you press it into the little cracks and divots and stuff like that, and it should all seal up nice. I think that looks pretty good for what we have going on. So let's work on getting that cap back on. We'll get this tuck tape off here. As you can see, I also painted it black, the pipe, just to match it up and stuff. But again, it's galvanized, so it's not really necessary. So the little spots that are missing paint is not overly important. Took a little figuring out to get this thing back snug on there. It's got 3 posts that hold it in place. So they originally riveted in, but I got to get it lined up like that. And then we'll get some self-tapping screws back in those pilot holes that I previously made. And zoom, there you go. That's one. We're going to adjust, make sure everything is level and looking good. And what this cap does is it actually prevents any of the rain or anything coming in into the vent, but allows me to turn on the vent and suck in or suck out some air in the bathroom, which will be nice after a shower or a morning routine, if you know what I mean. Not all screws behave, but eventually we got that one in. And we lost a bit, but there we go. Get another one in there. There we go. Nice and tight, nice and fresh. I put this video in a little bit because you notice you don't actually see me putting the screw in. That seemed to be whenever I was doing this work, I always kind of put my hand in front of the camera, just like that. So I had to edit it out to keep my hands out of the camera. And put the last screw in, and hopefully my editing skills, or not my editing skills, but my camera skills get better as we progress in this project. But it was tight finding those little pilot holes. I'm so glad I put in those pilot holes, because this would have made this whole job even more miserable. But eventually we got some adjustments. Did I ever get that one in? And this is a side view of how the roof looks in comparison to the fiberglass. And this is how the sides look after I got the custom cut tin, the side caps, and the corner caps. This is the end. So there you have it. I've put a metal roof on top of this RV trailer. I think it'll work out very well. I do sincerely apologize that I didn't have full video coverage of the entire job, but when one's camera is stolen, all of that material is gone, and my only choice would have been to take off the entire roof and re-record it. And of course, my helpers who helped me put this roof on and everything would not be appreciative if I told them that we had to take it all off. So this is what it is. You will see more of the roof in future videos. Now, this is my second of this series, and I'm also learning how to do the craft of rebuilding the trailer, plus making content and doing all the editing and stuff. I would greatly appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, subscribe, and I will continue with this project. Thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful day.